Where were you born and how did you die?
I was born on December 17th, 1874 in Berlin, Ontario, now known as Kitchener, and died on July 22nd, 1950 at Kingsmore from pneumonia.
How many years were you in office?
I was in office for 22 years and was the longest serving Prime Minister in Canadian history.
What is your biggest accomplishment?
During World War II, I was able to mobilize Canadian money, supplies, and volunteers to support Britain while at the same time I boosted the economy and maintained home front morale. I avoided battles at home over topics such as conscription that had originally divided Canada in World War I.
Describe your personality.
I am a workaholic who is quite intelligent, although I may have lacked charisma. I was told I am cold and tactless in human relations, so I had only a few close friends, but I had allies. I believe in spiritualism, but keep my beliefs a secret and use mediums to stay in contact with others who have passed on, such as my mother.
What did you think about the League of Nations?
I believe in the League of Nations and thought that it would work, but only if the United States were a part of it. Without the United States, it is bound to fail.
How do you feel about Hitler?
I met Hitler in Berlin in June of 1937. After this meeting, I believed that Hitler was an honorable man who just wanted peace.
Do you feel that you were a good leader?
I believe that I was a good leader for Canada during World War II. When there was a conscription crisis, I was able to handle it properly so I didn't get everyone upset. I held a volunteer conscription where many of the jobs on the home front were now support roles. I then held a vote asking if the country wanted me to enforce conscription so I would not be breaking my promise of no conscription because I would not be forcing it upon them. When this vote passed, many French people did not agree, so I allowed most of their conscription to be home front roles and the English to be overseas.
Describe your childhood.
When I was younger, my nickname was Willie. I had 3 siblings, 2 sisters, and a brother. I went to Berlin Central School and Berlin High School. My father was a lawyer who was struggling in a small city and later became professor at Osgoode Hall Law School. My financial situation was never ideal, but my parents hired servants and tutors who they almost couldn't afford. My maternal grandfather was the first mayor of Toronto and helped influence me in my later political life.
Do you have any pets?
I had 3 dogs, all Irish terriers, and all named Pat. I love them dearly, and they are a very important part of my life.
What was your most important goal?
My most important goal was national unity. I understood that this did not mean forcing everyone to follow one vision, but to accommodate the many different viewpoints.
What was your school career like?
I studied economics and law at the University of Toronto and the University of Chicago. When I graduated with an MA or Master of Arts in 1897, I continued studying at Harvard.
Did you have any hobbies?
I had a hobby that many found odd. I liked to collect stones from pre-Confederation buildings that were being demolished in Ottawa, and I would rebuild them in Kingsmere.